They thought I was harmless, quiet, soft-spoken, easy to overlook. In their eyes, I wasn't a threat. I wasn't competition. I wasn't even part of the game. I was the underdog, the one who worked silently, didn't cause trouble, never complained. But the thing about underdogs is simple. People forget they're watching. People forget they're thinking. People forget they're planning. And I planned. Longer than they expected. Smarter than they assumed. My name is Zara, and this is the story of how a group of co-workers tried to take me down to rise above me, but ended up exposing their own hidden plans because of one strategy they never saw coming. It started on a Monday morning when my manager asked me quietly, "Zara, did you really say these things about the team?" I felt my stomach drop. "What? No. What things?" He sighed heavily. "There's a complaint, anonymous, detailed, and they've attached messages." I froze. Messages? My name? My alleged words? Except I never wrote those messages. Somebody was impersonating me. Somebody wanted me out. Somebody was building a careful trap. I walked out of that office with a fire in my chest that wasn't anger. It was clarity. Because the moment people try this hard to break you, it means you are already becoming a danger. Before I tell you how I exposed every single one of them, how I flipped their plan upside down, and how I ended up in a position they spent months trying to steal, tell me where you're watching from and what time it is. Because what came next changed the entire power structure of that office. I wasn't the popular one, not the loud one, not the funny one. I was the quiet worker who did her job well and went home peacefully. While others bonded over gossip and group lunches, I stayed out of their circles, not because I was antisocial, but because I didn't trust easily. I had seen enough in life to know that people who smile easily also turn easily. My team consisted of Rafi, the charismatic smooth talker who always took credit quietly; Sonia, the office favorite, funny, loud, still somehow manipulative; Bilal, insecure but loyal to whoever gave him attention. Together they formed an unbreakable trio that dominated everything at work: projects, decisions, conversations, narratives. They weren't cruel in obvious ways. They were subtle. Snide comments, small exclusions, little digs, friendly jokes that weren't friendly. But they never worried about me, because to them, I wasn't ambitious. They assumed I was happy being average. What they didn't know was that I was quietly learning every single detail of how the company functioned, every system, every loophole, every process, every reporting method. Not because I wanted revenge, but because knowledge was power. Knowledge was leverage. Knowledge was the one thing that couldn't be taken from me. But the trio had one goal. They wanted my position. I was the senior assistant to the regional director, a role with access to information, clients, and influence. They wanted it badly. And the easiest way to take my place was to make me look incompetent and unprofessional. They didn't attack my work. They attacked my character, my integrity, my trust. But they made one mistake. They assumed I wouldn't fight back. It came in the form of a printed sheet, folded, anonymous, slipped under my manager's door, a complaint claiming that I insulted team members, belittled their work, shared internal information, talked behind their backs, manipulated client reports. All lies. But the worst part was the evidence. Screenshots, fake conversations, fake messages, fake chats with my name, and a perfect imitation of my writing style. Whoever did this put real effort into it. When my manager showed me the printouts, I felt my throat tighten. "This is not me," I whispered. He nodded. "I don't think so either. but the company needs answers. Suddenly, I became the center of an investigation I didn't ask for. HR interviews, questions, side glances, rumors. People who used to greet me now avoided eye contact. People who admired my work began doubting me. That's the thing about lies. They don't need evidence to spread. They just need attention. The trio, Rafi, Sonia, and Bilal, acted shocked. Overly shocked. Too shocked. Sonia said loudly at lunch, "I just can't believe Zara would say such things. But I guess people hide their true nature." Rafi added, "It's the quiet ones you have to be careful about." Bilal remained silent, but the guilt in his eyes was impossible to miss. I stayed calm externally, but inside I was falling apart. My reputation was being shredded by people I had never harmed. I cried silently in the bathroom stall, more times than I can count, but a breakdown is often the beginning of a breakthrough. Because that night, while reviewing the fake screenshots, I noticed something. Something small, tiny, barely visible, but powerful enough to shatter their entire scheme. While studying the fake screenshots, I zoomed in, closer, closer, and that's when I saw it. The timestamp format was wrong. I always use 24-hour format, 1943, 2110, etc. But the fake conversation used 12-hour format with PM. I never used that format, ever. It wasn't proof, but it was the first crack in their perfect lie. So I zoomed in again. This time, I noticed the font was slightly off, just a fraction, just enough to indicate a different device. I zoomed in again. This time the battery percentage didn't match my phone. Another crack. I dug deeper, matched patterns, checked my real conversations, compared spacing, checked the metadata hidden inside the exported images, and then it hit me. The screenshots included a notification from an app I never installed. The culprit's device exposed itself in the image. That was the detail that turned the table. But I didn't go rushing to HR. No, I needed more. So I studied message styles, typing patterns, punctuation habits. Sonia always used excessive emojis. Rafi used no punctuation. Bilal used double spaces after full stops. The fake screenshots? Double spaces. Bilal, the one who always looked nervous, the one who avoided eye contact, the one who followed the other two blindly. But he wasn't acting alone. The phrasing was Sonia's. The formatting was Rafi's idea. The execution was Bilal's. 3 people trying to destroy one. But I wasn't going to confront them. Not yet. Because the best revenge isn't exposing someone in anger. It's exposing them with proof so strong even they can't deny it. The next 2 weeks were the calmest of my life. On the outside. On the inside, I was building a case so detailed it would tear their plan apart. I collected metadata from the screenshots, device pattern mismatches, timeline inconsistencies, typing style analysis, system logs, email timestamps, chat exports, server access records. Piece by piece, I built an entire digital map leading straight back to them. But I wasn't done. I requested internal access logs from IT, legally, through my manager for investigation clarity. The logs showed that someone from Bilal's device accessed restricted folders from accounts that weren't his. Someone gave him those credentials. Someone with more authority. Rafi. And the person who handled the formatting and the complaint? Sonia. 3 culprits, 1 target. But when people plot behind closed doors, they forget something important. Technology remembers everything. Finally, I prepared a presentation. Not loud, not dramatic, just facts. Facts that would speak louder than any defense. When I felt ready, I sent HR an email. I have information that may resolve the investigation. Please arrange a meeting with the full review committee. They agreed. and that meeting would change everything. The room was cold and filled with tension. HR, my manager, IT, legal, and then Rafi, Sonia, and Bilal walked in. They looked confident, smug, ready to watch me collapse. But when they saw the stack of documents in front of me, their confidence cracked. HR began, "Zara, please present your findings." I stood up, my voice steady. I started with the timestamp mismatch, then the notification inconsistencies, then the device metadata, then the typing pattern analysis. With each slide, their faces grew paler. Then I dropped the bomb. Hit logs show that the screenshots originated from a device registered to Bilal Ahmed. Bilal gasped. Sonia's hand flew to her mouth. Rafi shifted in his seat. But I wasn't finished. I continued. Access logs also show that restricted files were opened using credentials belonging to Rafi Khan. Gasps filled the room. And then, the formatting, word choice, and message style match patterns used commonly by Sonia Malik across multiple internal communications. Sonia froze. I ended with one sentence. These 3 individuals collaborated to frame me in order to discredit my performance and compete for my position. Silence. A long, heavy silence. Then Ait spoke. She's correct. Every point matches our database records. My manager looked furious. HR looked betrayed. Legal looked ready to take action. The trio, they looked destroyed. Within 30 minutes, all 3 were suspended, their accounts deactivated. Security escorted them out. They didn't even look back as they walked past me, because when a person is exposed with their own proof, they have nowhere to hide. After the investigation closed, the whole company looked at me differently, not as an underdog, not as the quiet one, not as someone to step on, but as someone who stayed calm while others tried to destroy her. My director called me in. "Zara, you handled this with more intelligence and strength than many senior managers here." Then he said words I will never forget. "We want to promote you to operations lead." My chest tightened. My eyes watered. The position they tried so hard to steal from me became mine, not through manipulation, not through lies, not through schemes, but through strategy, consistency, and truth. People underestimate quiet people because they confuse silence with weakness. But silence is often calculation, observation, preparation. Underdogs aren't powerless. They're patient, and patience is the most dangerous weapon in any battlefield. If people try to break you, remember this. They're scared of your potential. You don't plot against someone irrelevant. You plot against someone you're afraid will rise above you. In the end, they expose themselves trying to expose me, and the position they wanted so desperately became the reward for surviving their betrayal. So stay calm, stay strategic, stay quiet if you must, because the quietest person in the room can still change the entire game.